Jill McDonald is a planner with WSP, and she will be leading us through the Mentimeter, which is an online platform that we're going to be using to record answers, which will be great and interactive for this session. And finally, Michael Flowers is a professional engineer, and he's the municipal engineering co-lead from WSP. So we're excited to be here, and we thank you for your time. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom, if we can just move to the next slide, please. We ask that you keep your microphone muted while the presenter is speaking. If you're experiencing any connection issues, any delays, we recommend turning off your camera. And if you have a question or if you would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature, which is under reactions at the bottom of your screen. And the chat box can also be used to add input or ask a question. And in fact, we have two chats right now. So Anita has posted that if you have any questions regarding the Amherstview secondary plan process, you can submit it to secondaryplan@loyalist.ca. And we also have a link to the project website. So now I'm going to turn it over to Jill, and we're going to use Mentimeter as a little test run.
All right, thanks, Nadia. So for today, for our workshop, we're going to be using an online engagement tool called Mentimeter. I'm going to invite you to use your smartphones or web browser to go to www.menti.com to engage with this tool. And it will prompt you to enter a code you see on the screen here. So that's 16630034. You can also open up the camera on your smartphone and hover over the QR code, which is the pixelated image on the right side of the screen here, and it should link you directly to the online Mentimeter tool. So there'll be several questions over the course of the workshop this evening where a question will come up in the Mentimeter tool and will prompt you to provide an answer or thoughts or ideas. And your answers will appear in real time on the screen here and will be visible to all workshop attendees so you can see your fellow attendees' feedback. So again, that's www.menti.com with the code here on the screen. And perhaps I'll type the website link and code into the Zoom chat box here, or
I've done that, Jill.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks, Anita. That's excellent. So that'll be a reference point throughout the session this evening. And as well, if you're unable to access Mentimeter, that's no problem. Please feel free to add your comment or answer to the chat box in Zoom, as Nadia described, and our team will be monitoring answers there throughout this session as well. All right, so we'll give it a test question a go here. Our first question is straightforward, just a bit of a warm up here. What community do you live in? So we'll get people a chance to get signed into Mentimeter and input their answers. Already seeing some responses. That's excellent. Thank you for engaging. We like to ask this question as a bit of a test to get a sense of representation here, and also for us to see how many respondents we have on Mentimeter. So for future questions, we can anticipate the number of responses. Okay, very good. So we're looking at around just under 20 responses. Excellent. The township has been, we're doing excellent outreach and promoting this event on our project website and social media. So we're very excited to see the response here this evening. And it looks like we seem to be capping at around 20 responses. So we'll keep that in mind moving forward. Great. Okay. Our second warm-up question is, which of the following best describes your age group? All right, and we have around 20 answers again. Thanks so much for getting involved. So that's a primer on Mentimeter for you. And again, we're so excited this evening to get your thoughts and input on Amherstview West secondary plan. So now I'll turn it back over to Nadia, who will walk us through today's agenda. Thanks.
Thanks, Jill. That's, gosh, technology is pretty cool. So tonight's workshop is a presentation basically introducing the Amherstview West Secondary Plan project, which will include a project overview, our project process and timelines. Megan is going to present a draft opportunities and constraints map based on preliminary information and background review. And then we're going to move into the workshop working session. And this is the opportunity for you to provide input through Mentimeter or through the chat. And so this is really where we're here to listen to you, to learn from you. And we're excited to hear your thoughts and see your thoughts on the screen. The three main objectives for today's workshop is really to inform the public, provide an introduction to this project. We want to consult and obtain feedback, particularly on any other information that we should be cognizant of on the development opportunities and constraints. And we really want to involve the community in preparing a vision for the future community of Amherstview West. So we're all here as a team to work together and learn from each other and help develop this future area. Following the workshop portion, we will go over the next steps in terms of the secondary plan project, and we'll also open the floor up for any questions and answers. You'll be able to ask the project team any questions you might have, and you can also provide any additional feedback on the project. In terms of our project team, Loyalist Township will be responsible for coordinating with us, reviewing the project deliverables and organizing community events. And as Andrea mentioned, the municipal staff team is Bowden, Andrea, and Jenna, and their positions are provided on the website. And WSP will be the project manager, and we are leading both the secondary plan and the environmental assessment process. And we have a multidisciplinary team with expertise in all areas of urban planning, design, natural and cultural heritage, transportation, and infrastructure. And we need to add Jill to our consultant team list. So there's the core 5 of us are the ones working on this project and having many discussions with the township, supported by our colleagues. Megan and Michael are here today to represent the various technical disciplines, and will be able to respond to questions following the workshop session. So in terms of the study area, Amherstview West secondary plan study area is approximately 144 hectares or 346 acres. It's bounded by Taylor Kidd Boulevard or County Road 23 to the north, Bath Road or Highway 33 to the south, Parrots Bay Conservation Area to the west, and County Road 6 and the existing built-up area in Amherstview to the east. Existing uses in the study area include residential uses along Highway 33, Bath Road, and along Bayview Drive and Parrots Bay Lane. There are 2 existing farms in the study area, including Loyalist Acres Farm located northwest of County Road 6 and Bath Road. The next slide helps to explain what is a secondary plan. And so it's kind of, think of it as an onion. I kind of use this analogy where you have the Planning Act, and then the next layer is the provincial policy statement. The next layer is the county's official plan. The next layer is the township official plan, and then the secondary plan. So it's a layering effect. And the township official plan is currently undergoing the legislated review, and that sets out a vision with guiding principles and land use policies that are used to manage and direct physical planning for lands and development for the whole township. And the secondary plan is also a planning policy document that has a vision, guiding principles, and land use policies to guide growth and development, but within a more specific area of a municipality. So a secondary plan, like the official plan, is developed with community engagement and input in accordance with the Planning Act, so that growth can be achieved while respecting the needs of current residents, ensuring compatibility with the existing community fabric and character, and promoting progressive planning principles. As part of our project, the secondary plan will be implemented through an official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment. The zoning bylaw amendment will establish zones as well as specific standards for development, such as minimum lot area, required setbacks, maximum building heights, among other requirements. The secondary plan will be developed in consultation with landowners and the community, and will be adopted as an amendment to the Loyalist Township official plan. I'm going to turn it over to Megan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'll be presenting this slide that explains about the municipal class environmental assessment process that will be followed in parallel, kind of harmonized with the secondary plan that's being developed for Amherstview West. So the municipal class environmental assessment process is a standardized planning process that is approved under the Ontario Environmental Assessment Act. It applies to municipal infrastructure projects, and it allows for what are called routine classes of infrastructure projects, for example, roadways or municipal water, wastewater services, to be assessed under the Environmental Assessment Act following a streamlined process. So in Ontario, the Environmental Assessment Act defines the environment broadly to include elements of the natural environment, but also social, economic, cultural, and built environments as well. So projects that are assessed following a municipal class environmental assessment project must look at all aspects of the environment that are defined under the Environmental Assessment Act as part of the planning process. So integrating the development of the secondary plan with this municipal class environmental assessment process allows for us to look in a coordinated way at land use, but the servicing and transportation issues that are needed to support it in one kind of holistic study. So it also ensures that environmental considerations are fully integrated into the decision-making process as part of this project. So the secondary plan process, as I've said a few times, has been integrated, is fully integrated with the municipal class environmental assessment process. And we will be harmonizing things like the consultation and engagement opportunities, such as the event tonight, and some of the studies that we'll be explaining a little bit further on. Some of the specialized studies that we've carried out will be supporting both the secondary plan, but also the environmental assessment process that we're carrying out in parallel with that. Oh, thanks, Jill. You can move to the next slide.
Thanks, Megan. So the objectives for the Amherstview West secondary plan are to identify future needs and priorities for the future community of Amherstview West to 2046. This will include looking at housing types, urban design, community amenities, protection of the natural environment, stormwater and servicing, transportation, including active transportation. It will result in a land use plan that will implement the vision, the policies of the official plan for Amherstview West, and specifically the vision and ideas that come through the community engagement process. As mentioned, the secondary plan will be implemented through an official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment. We'll also be preparing urban design guidelines to guide the built form of this area and ensure that that vision, that look and feel, the concepts, the ideas are also conveyed in guidelines so that future developers of the land can carry that vision on through built form. So why Amherstview West? Why is the township preparing a secondary plan for this area? Amherstview is experiencing the most rapid growth of the township's 3 urban settlement areas. So that includes Bath, Odessa, and Amherstview, and is anticipated to have a remaining residential land supply of 5 to 10 years, due in part to housing demand outpacing population growth and resulting in a declining average household size. Proximity to the city of Kingston in the east has also influenced the distribution of growth in Loyalist Township and in Amherstview, where residential growth in the township is focused. While the township is continuing to examine opportunities to expand Odessa and Bath, Loyalist Township official plan acknowledges that long-term urban expansion is expected to take place in a westerly direction in Amherstview. In terms of the overall project process, and this graphic is also on the project website, the integrated process that Megan presented is illustrated here, where you have the secondary plan process at the top, and the MCEA stands for Municipal Class Environmental Assessment process is at the bottom. And overall, this project has 5 phases, with phase 2 being the public engagement phase. So we are very early on in the process. We have completed some background studies that you'll hear a bit about, and we've had our first set of committee meetings, as Andrea mentioned. And so we are having this online visioning workshop, and there will be a community survey that will be launched tomorrow. As well, from the municipal class environmental assessment process, the notice of study commencement has also been issued. I'm going to now hand it over to Anita, who will further elaborate on phase 2 of the project process.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thanks, Nadia. So as you saw on the previous slide, there is what we're calling phase 2, the public engagement program, but we want to be clear that phase 2 is ongoing for the entire duration of the project. So there will be community engagement opportunities throughout the secondary plan process at every milestone to keep the community informed, but more importantly, to ensure there's opportunity to get robust feedback. So this slide here summarizes some of the initial engagement activities that have taken place to date. And the main objective so far has been informing the community and key stakeholders that the secondary plan process has begun and how to get involved. So the township has launched a dedicated project website and project email list. A screenshot of that website is on the left-hand side of the slide, and the link is also on the slide. And there have also been the notice of study commencement that has been published, which is available on that website for you to read and covers both the secondary plan and the MCEA process. So many of you here at the visioning workshop today may have received an update and invitation to participate tonight via the project email list. And we would encourage you to get your neighbors and anyone else that you know who may be interested in the process to sign up to stay informed as well. So if you'd like to sign up for email updates, you can do so on the project website. And the website will be kept up to date and will be the place that future engagement opportunities and project milestones are announced, and where key documentation that will be available for public review will be posted as we progress through the process. I think, as Nadia briefly mentioned, following the event this evening, an online survey will be launched, and the questions in that survey will be the same questions that we'll be working with the participants here tonight as part of this workshop. So while the survey is intended for those community members who weren't able to join us this evening, you as participants tonight are more than welcome to provide your further thoughts and feedback through the online survey as well. The survey link will be live on the project website tomorrow, and a notification by email will also go out to the project email list advertising the survey, and it will be open for the next 2 weeks until July 8th. Next slide, please. So as we've mentioned, and as Andrea covered in the introduction to this evening, the township is committed to engaging a wide range of community representatives and stakeholders, including yourselves, through the secondary plan process. The slide here summarizes the various agencies, groups, and interested parties that we're seeking to involve to ensure that everyone's input is captured and built into the strategies and land use recommendations for the secondary plan. Some of the key groups that Andrea also mentioned include decision makers, including Township Council, technical agencies like the Cataraqui Region Conservation Authority, county and township staff, local community-based representatives who form part of the coordinating committee, and Indigenous communities. To date, we've received confirmation from both Alderville First Nation and the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte that they would like to remain informed about the project. So we'll be undertaking engagement activities with all of these groups as well as residents and members of the community throughout the project process. I will now hand it over to Michael, who will talk to you a little bit about some of the ongoing background studies that are underway.
Thank you, Anita, and good evening, everyone. So the background studies are shown on the screen here, and these are going to inform the land use concept plan options for the secondary plan area and the ultimate draft secondary plan. They're also key components in support of the municipal class environmental assessment process. So the major findings and recommendations will be summarized in a background analysis report, and we're on our way for completion of these studies in early summer. So just to go through them quickly to understand the content, the growth management report will be looking at that future projection and growth in the area. Natural heritage and constraints reporting looks at ecology of the area and things such as species at risk. Natural hazards and master stormwater management report is our review of drainage in the area, looking at opportunities and constraints. The climate change assessment will be looking at mitigation and resiliency opportunities and constraints. The water and sanitary sewer infrastructure servicing report is a key document looking at connections to surrounding municipal servicing and a strategy for connecting services within the secondary plan area and looking at any constraints on the current infrastructure. The phase 1 environmental assessment is looking at potential of contamination in the lands within the study area. The cultural heritage resource assessment and archaeology overview are two key documents looking at the history of land use here, identifying any potential resources that might be identified as cultural heritage preservation requirements, and any archaeological potential in the area. The traffic and active transportation report is a key document looking at the interconnections between the existing road network and road networks within the secondary plan area to inform the land use concepts, while the preliminary geotechnical and hydrogeological assessments are really looking at opportunities and constraints with regards to bedrock, how shallow the bedrock is throughout this area, as well as groundwater concerns that might pop up in this area. Finally, the composite utility report is looking at things such as servicing for natural gas, Bell communications, and hydro in this area around the perimeter connecting into the secondary plan area. I'll hand it back now to Nadia or Megan.
Yes, I'll be doing the next slides. Thanks, Michael. So what we wanted to illustrate, we've got two maps coming up on the next two slides. And the first one here that we wanted to illustrate, so this is the study area outlined in purple. It's a bit small, it might appear a bit small on your screen. So, but the intent here is to just show at a broad level what the land ownership is within the study area. And you can see there's a fairly significant portion that's owned by the township. And that's what's shown in kind of the beige tan color there. So within the study area, there is a large component that's currently owned by the township. So we just wanted to illustrate the land ownership map. That's what you've seen on this slide here. And then Jill, you can advance to the next slide. Yeah, and so this map here, what we've illustrated is it's an initial draft of trying to identify some of the key opportunities within this secondary plan area and some of the key constraints that we'll have to work around as we develop the land use concepts. So some of the features that we've illustrated here, I'll just speak to them and kind of reference the color coding because I appreciate the legend might not be completely legible, but some of the opportunities that we've illustrated here include the Loyalist East Business Park that's under development. So that's just a little bit outside of the study area, but adjacent to it to the north in that kind of purple area there, where proposed uses in the future include light industrial and some commercial uses within that business park. We've identified as opportunities some of the existing paths and trails within the area. So you can see those in kind of the hatched, it looks like a kind of yellow or light green, sorry, not hatched, but what's the word I'm looking for? Broken up kind of lines there. Dashed. Thank you. That's the word that was escaping me. So those are existing paths and trails within the area. We know the Lake Ontario Waterfront Trail route runs along the Loyalist Parkway, and then there's multi-use paths along County Road 6 from Amherst Drive to Taylor Kidd Boulevard. There's also within Parrots Bay the conservation area trails. So some of the other opportunities, so there are planned roadworks at the intersection of County Road 6 and Taylor Kidd Boulevard. So there's a future roundabout that will be going in there, and we're aware of future widening of Amherst Drive that has been planned. Some significant opportunities as well. There are extensive natural environmental features in this area, focused very much around the Parrots Bay conservation area, but there are also kind of other pockets of wetlands that we've shown on the map here. So we've got the Parrots Bay conservation area kind of outlined in the thick red line, and we've got there's provincially significant wetland that's associated with that area, which we've shown here, and we've applied a little bit of a buffer because there are protections that exist for provincially significant wetlands that extend 120 meters from the limit of the wetland. So that's what you're kind of seeing highlighted in orange there. So that's a very important natural environmental feature that's adjacent to and then kind of crosses into the study area. We've got unevaluated wetlands. So that means they haven't been evaluated to determine if they are provincially significant, but they are wetlands nevertheless and have certain protections afforded to them. So we have wetlands identified in the green here as well, and a water course that I think is highlighted in the red there running through the study area. So we're aware of these natural environmental features and the opportunities that they provide in terms of providing access to nature, in terms of providing opportunities to protect these natural areas and conserve these features, and the associated recreational opportunities that come with areas like the Parrots Bay Conservation Area. These are also, constraints as well, because we understand the significance of these natural features. So a bit of an opportunity and constraint. So in terms of additional constraints that we've identified in this area, so we're aware of some existing farmland in the area. As I said, we've got quite a few of these natural environmental features that should be considered constraints and we'll be looking at more closely. And as Michael said, there's kind of some technical constraints as well. So things like bedrock can be a constraint in some areas. So we'll be looking at these features. So the intent here was just to show, it's not a comprehensive opportunities and constraints map at this point, but it's to kind of initiate some discussion and highlight some of the key features that at this stage in our background review that have kind of come to the forefront that will be critical as we move forward to look at the land use plan for the area. So I think with that, we will move to the next slide. And I believe that concludes the presentation part for this evening. So this will be the point where recording will stop and we will then move to the next portion of